if you turn around and look back with open eyes at your life, you see all the scars.
So you have to start the cycle. The cycle starts with a little bit of suffering. The cycle starts with a little bit of pain. The first time your alarm clock ever goes off earlier than you used to, it's gonna make you feel like, I don't want to do this. Do it. And then that night, you'll be tired a little earlier and you can go to sleep a little earlier. That's how you make it happen.
If you live this on a daily basis and you know how to calm your mind down, the self-talk will help. All that stuff will help. But usually we react. We have pain, we have suffering, we react, and we react about, get the out of here. We gotta go. It's those people who are able to control that feeling of in flight and say, no, motherfucker, there's a way through this.
The consistency is the most difficult thing.
Just doing it every day.
Yes, every day.
Do you ever wake up and you say, I don't want to do it today?
I fight against my mind. Yes, sometimes it's happened. We are all human beings. We are not happy every day. We are, not in a good mood every day. It's normal. It's part of us. Our mind, it's a box of surprises, and you have to challenge yourself to be consistent. I repeat, sometimes it's hard. It's what many people say. You like to go to the gym every day? Of course, no. It's not true. Nobody likes to go to the gym every day. But you have to do it. Probably yes, because your mental strength is coming from that moments that in a hard moments, you should do it. So, and I do it because after that, maybe in the beginning you feel hard to start, but after when you finish the gym or cold plunge or even the training, you will feel better.
It's the unseen work, which you just said is a true statement. Those are false dopamine hits that people are giving you, man.
You need to take action, the things that are in your control. You need to execute on those, and that's the key to avoiding these ups and downs.
I don't apologize. In the end, I don't care whether you love me or you hate me, just as long as I win.
You're not only winning when things are going your way. You got to figure out how to win when things aren't going your way.
You cannot erase the work ethic part. There is no getting around. Ain't no elevator to the top. You got to take the stairs.
I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. That whenever I'm down, I'm like, oh, hang on, motherfucker. Oh, you know the truth. You know the truth. You know the darkness of the dungeons and the demons that fly. You know, and then from there, it's like, okay, you were there. You know this. There was no one there to pick up the rucksack, to pick up the boat, to pick up the log, to go in there. It was you. It was you. There was no pat on the back at 300, at 275, at 250, at 220. No, that was you.
For new things to come, old things must go.
The idea that working hard doesn't make progress is one of the biggest farces that exists in humanity, because at the end of the day, whatever you amount to isn't going to matter anyways, right? And so if there is anything that's eternal for us, at least as individuals, it's going to be who we become in the process. And so one of my favorite quotes is, the work works on you more than you work on it. If you want to be the best in the world at something, you do the work to become the best in the world, and the work works on you. I mean, there's a biblical proverb, I think it says like, there is profit in all labor. And that means that even if the thing that you're working on right now doesn't amount to the outcome that you expected that it would, it doesn't mean that you don't become better through doing it.
Before you win, everyone will ask why you're working so hard, and after you win, everyone will remind you how lucky you got.
Any human realizes that if you want some kind of a good outcome, you're going to have to work hard for it. And if you don't work hard for something, you're not going to get an outcome that's really worth much.
If you don't want to live the lifestyle, then release yourself from the desire. To crave the result, but not the process, is to guarantee disappointment.
It's not about being perfect. It's about just every day, one step at a time, trying to be better, trying to do more.
You're going to go through this pain. You're going to go through the suffering. How are you going to choose to show up?
The bad days create the story that I'm one day going to tell myself about what I got through. Without the bad days, there would be no glory in overcoming anything, because what did you overcome?
You have to discipline yourself. That's why I often tell my clients, especially young people, they say, well, I don't know what to do. It's like, that's okay. Nobody does. Go do something. Do the best thing that you can think of. Put the best plan you have into practice. It's not going to be perfect, and it will change along the way, but it will change partly because you become disciplined pursuing the path. And as you become disciplined, you become wiser. And as you become wiser, you become able to formulate better and better plans.
I'm a go-getter. I'm a winner, and I'm going to always find a way to come out on top, no matter what position you put me in.
Obsession's going to be talent every time. You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed?
When you're going through something really challenging, how do you show up within it? Do you choose to become a victim of complaining and misery or do you find meaning in how you show up in the suffering?
A lot of us have big dreams, big goals. And when you have goals that are maybe outside your reach, you have to know that getting to that goal, you're gonna have a lot of bad days.
Bro, you gotta fucking stop. You gotta stop with all this I can't catch a break bullshit. All the time you're complaining, you could be instead hustling. You could be instead chasing your dream. You could be instead figuring out what you're doing wrong, trying to improve certain aspects of your life, getting your shit together, reading a book, meditating, something. And that's how you do it. You go and get after it. You don't make any excuses.
I don't quit. You know, I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back.
Effort, dedication, work hard, because the talent is not enough anymore. And if you're not dedicated 100%, you're not gonna reach the level that you want.
The hardest things are usually the best. If it's easy, leave it to somebody else.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy.
Nothing is easy, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes.
To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
Is there any better feeling than being locked in?
No. The confidence comes from preparation. When I'm prepared, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing. Right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before. So what's one more time?
Your time's gonna come, but you cannot give up.
Through repetition of things you don't want to do, start to armor your mind. Because your mind's like, okay, we suffer every day. It's what we do. We do stuff that sucks every day. So then when the suck stuff comes, you're ready for it.
One thing you can't escape is that to be good at anything, you gotta put the hours in. It is hard work.
If I'm running on a treadmill and I get to mile 9 and I get complete cramp in one of my legs, and I know I've told myself I'm going to run 10 kilometers today, I will have to limp the last mile, even if no one's watching, because I can't let the demons in. And if I let the demons in, they'll show up in the 11th round of a championship fight when there's 50,000 people watching me in the audience, and I know deep in my self-story that I'm the type of person that quits when things get hard because I got off that treadmill at mile 9 when no one was watching.
If you knew that you were going to succeed, it wouldn't be worth doing to begin with. The fact that you are uncertain when you start is what makes it worthwhile. And the fallacy of being in the pursuit is the worry or the concern that it won't amount to anything, because who you are becoming is the thing that you are amounting to in real time every day.
Just go to the gym. Yeah. It's like, don't give yourself an out. The problem is you give yourself an out. If you dedicate your time and your focus, like realistically, with a professional, disciplined effort to creativity, you show up every day like a professional, but you show up to be creative. If you just do it on a regular basis, ideas will come to you. Like, there's people out there that are just working harder than everybody else, and they're gonna keep doing it. And the only way to develop that kind of endurance is through insane work.
Do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. That's the hack. The hack is gonna fucking suck.
If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.
You cannot change your life unless you change something.
Build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. You're able to can say, okay, now I can now talk to people about what I went through. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. In their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. We are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same mistakes. You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life, because while you're probably up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it.
Success in fighting in life is about desire and the will. How bad do you want it? Is it worth dying for? That's the true greatness, is the willingness to die. So is this thing worth greatness?
You got to be willing to fail. If you can't fail, what I learned in the gym is you got to go out there and fail. You got to go out there and fall down. Most people who have won big have failed big. I want that. I want you to fail, and I want you to get up and do it again. The same thing in life is the same thing here. If you can do this, you can do anything. Anything. Right now, you're 5% away. 5% away from being a champion.
So what's the great divide of human beings? Who are you on those days you don't want to do things? It's easy to conquer when it's good weather. You got good sleep. Work's going good. The family's good. You feel great. Your body's not injured. Those are the easy days to conquer. But who are you on those days when all hell's broke loose? Your body's up. You're sore. You're depressed. You're miserable. You're not the favorite person at school. You might be getting bullied. You might be falling behind in life. Who are you on those days when shit's all up? That's the great divide. Those people who get up on those days when everything's up and still grind, that's the separator right there. Stay hard.
Going to bed late and waking up early to work for a few days won't kill you. You're not going to burn out. You're doing what it takes. If you're one of those people that push work-life balance, just remember, the people who like working a lot don't care. I've never regretted trying harder at anything ever. Hard times last long, but an epic story feels like a lifetime.
Start to work your plan. Plan your life, work your plan. You're going to be very, very successful.
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people. Everybody thinks they're a loser. Every young person thinks they're a loser. At least a young person in the situation I was at. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning, until I started doing martial arts. Martial arts taught me that I could get better at stuff, that I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from being someone who was incredibly insecure and basically a failure to someone who was really successful at this one thing that was very dangerous.
So here is a list of things that are not doing the thing. Preparing to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Scheduling time to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Making a to-do list for the thing isn't doing the thing. Telling people you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Messaging friends who may or may not be doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Writing a banger tweet about how you're going to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on yourself for not doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on other people who have done the thing isn't doing the thing. Hating on the obstacles in the way of you doing the thing isn't doing the thing. Fantasizing about all of the adoration you'll receive once you do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how to do the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading about how other people did the thing isn't doing the thing. Reading this essay isn't doing the thing. The only thing that is doing the thing is doing the thing.
The key to being successful is planting. You've got to plant. Now, when you plant seeds, young people, you can't expect a harvest in 30 days. The harvest don't come in 30 days. You got to plant your seed, and sometimes the harvest don't come for years. Everything is not instant. So here's what I do. I get a row and I drop seeds in the ground. Then I go back and I cover them up with dirt. Because the dirt, you need the dirt. Then, once I cover it up, I dig another row and I plant some more seeds. I got about 10 rows planted. I look back at the first row and it's starting to sprout. Some stuff starting to come out the ground. I don't go back to that first row and just start eating, because it ain't really bearing no fruit right now. You can't eat the stalks and the leaves. You gotta wait till it bear fruit. In the meantime, you got to keep planting. Now, you're gonna look up in about 5 years, you're gonna look back and something you planted 5 years ago gonna have a lot of fruit on it. Then you can go back and start partaking of that fruit. But the reason you gotta keep planting is because sometimes you're gonna get rained out. Sometimes it's gonna be a drought. Sometimes, man, the pesticides / haters is gonna do what they do to your planted crops. Now, you got to mentally be prepared for that. But the planting process can never stop. If I could tell anybody anything, keep planting seeds and never stop planting, because you have no idea when God gonna drop all the necessary rain and you look up and everything you need is right there.
The hardest part of all of it is being vulnerable enough to admit the abuse, admit the past. Most of us don't want other people to know that, and that's
right.
The hardest part, to open up and be that vulnerable.
Right.
When did that start to bubble to the surface for you and you start to see vulnerability as a strength?
Well, where it started making me, I had to stop giving a fuck about people. That was the biggest thing. I had to stop caring what people thought about me. I realized that everybody's fucked up. That's the one thing I realized. I walked around and I put these people on a fucking pedestal. Everybody was better than me. So I can't tell you anything about me because you're gonna judge me and I'm gonna feel even worse than what I am. What I realized, once I calmed my mind down and sat back and looked at how jacked up this world is, once you realize that you are not alone, everybody that's talking to you about how jacked up you are, only thing they've done better than you is they've hidden their fucked up world better than you have. That's all they've done. So once I realized that, if you want to sit back, like for instance, there's all these things that are on TV, and we have all these news people judging people who fuck up in life. And yeah, they made big mistakes. But that person who is judging you on TV, I guarantee you that news person is saying, I'm glad that my shit didn't come out, but I'm gonna judge the hell out of you. I know that about people. So if you want to sit back and judge how jacked up I was and how messed up my life was, Merry Christmas, go for it, have a good time. But I'm smiling at you right now, knowing you have a secret that you're not willing to share. It gives you a lot of power when you're able to go on a podcast this big and say, hey, tell me, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I no longer care. And that is a lot of power in that, to be able to put your life on a billboard for the whole world to see and say, judge it, man. Judge it. Like just me talking about it makes me feel good. And that's another thing about it. When you are willing to talk about how jacked up you are, the strength, that big rock that you carry, it just starts to come off you. It just starts to come off. That's why I do it so often. I'm like, hey man, I'll tell you anything you want to know. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of not telling you shit. I'm tired of lying about how good I'm not.
What would you say to a young person today who felt that they were predetermined to be a certain way?
You've already quit. If you've accepted that where you are is where you're going to be, you've already lost.
And then how do you deal with regret?
I mean, individual choices and mistakes, yeah, but ultimately you learn from those. So like, no, because like even the regrets, the bad things or the stupid things, you learn not to do bad things or stupid things. You know, all those things are beneficial in some way if you can get through them. You know, if you like did something that resulted in someone's death or something horrible like that, yeah, it'd be a terrible regret. But I've been very fortunate that hasn't happened. But the dumb shit that I've done or the bad mistakes that I've made, they've taught me. You know, you learn. Like, that's why failure is so important. Like, failing and fucking up and making mistakes, it's very important. That's how you learn. That's how the bad feeling that you get from something that you shouldn't have done or wish you didn't do or wish you did better. Like, especially failing at something where you half-assed it and you just feel like a fucking loser. Like, that just teaches you. It teaches you to get your shit together.
It's the main point, because everyone wants to be Cristiano, but I give you the map. You think you will do it that? It's difficult. It's
the discipline.
The discipline is the most difficult thing, not only in the sports, but in the life.
This is why most people never get anywhere. Most people are incapable of picking a direction and going. Just going. They observe the possibilities. They get paralyzed by all the possibilities. They refuse to move forward on all the possibilities, and then time passes them by. So it's very important that you make a decision and you go down that path. You commit to that path with the mentality of having zero options. I don't have a choice but to see this through, okay? If I don't see this through, I'm gonna be digging ditches.
The secret is dedication and hard work, you know, to be able to work 100% all the time.
Clean your room, organize your life, like get a routine, get up every day at the same time, go to bed at the same time, establish disciplined habits, and that will help a lot. Schedule, like, and here's how to use a schedule. Use a calendar, use Google Calendar, but don't use it as a tyrant. You know, you want to use a calendar as if it's your confidant and advisor. And what you want to do is use the calendar, sit down, open the calendar and think, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design a week of days that I would really like to have. So what that would mean then is that you would schedule things that you would consider meaningful and productive, you know, on a daily basis, so that you feel that your life is justified by having a day like that, and also to schedule enough of your responsibilities so that you make progress day by day instead of falling farther behind.
Remember, it's not what you have, but what you do with what you have that separates winners from losers. It's not what happens to you, but how you respond to what happens to you that counts. In the final analysis, your response to the adversity of life is the real measure of who you are and what you're made of. The Greek philosopher Epictetus once said that circumstances do not make the man or woman, they merely reveal him to himself.
The best piece of advice that I ever received is that you are what you think about. Everything that you think about, you become. You become what you think about. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to behaviors. Behaviors leads to lifestyle. Lifestyle determines your destiny. So everything begins in the mind. If you can control and wield your mind, you can very much determine your destiny. If you can determine that regardless of what your mind says, you will go to the gym, you will develop a physique unlike 99% of society. If you decide to work on your business and you decide and you commit and you determine your mindset and you wield it, you can become successful. If you determine to be a studious individual and knowledgeable, you will be knowledgeable. If you determine to be rich, you'll be rich. Everything is in your control.
Getting over failure and finding success begins with taking 100% responsibility for your life. You have to give up your excuses and victim stories. You have to drop all the reasons you can't succeed or haven't succeeded so far. I know it's a challenge, but if you want to get ahead, you have to take complete responsibility for everything you experience in your life. What will I do differently next time to get the result I want? It's great to know what you did to contribute to your own difficulties, but it's pretty useless if you don't put that knowledge to work. Let it help you. Let it move you forward.
I don't care how good you are in anything. You don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
Ain't nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
I mean, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. That is a great quote. Mm-hmm. And if you can do that, you can be successful in anything.
You know, you normally are.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life.
Gosh.
There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mine. Every single one of them. Think about it.
Really was.
Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up.
It's easy to give up. You know,
Hell
it's
yeah.
easy. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. I'm done. I ain't going. I ain't gonna keep going.
Yeah,
I don't feel like going to work. I'm done.
Yeah, man.
It's easy. It's very easy. But what's hard is going, yo, yesterday I got nothing from working as hard as I could. Nothing happened from that. I'm gonna do the same thing again today, but I'm gonna try to go harder. That's the hardest thing in the world. To get up every day and give 100% and be in the same position that you were each day, but mentally know that you're trying and trying and trying. That's a real grind.
Trust me, you have a mindset right now, just like I have a mindset. It's how we view life. I know people with a negative mindset, which basically they view everything in a negative way. I know people with a positive mindset, which means they view everything in a positive way. People with an abundance mindset, a scarcity mindset. It's a way of thinking. The question is, how did we get there? How did we get that mindset? Through practice and habits. People that have a negative mindset have continually thought negatively. People that have a positive mindset have continually thought positively. You see, the things I do today determines the habits I have tomorrow, which determines the mindset that I have for life. So go back to what you do daily and ask yourself, what kind of a mindset am I developing today?
If you concentrate solely on your career, you can get a long way in your career. And I would say that that's a strategy that a minority of men preferentially do. That's all they do. They work like 70, 80 hours a week. They go flat out on their career. They're staking everything on the small probability of exceptional status in a narrow domain. But it's hard on them. They don't have a life. It's very difficult for them to have a family. They don't know how to take any leisure activity. Like, they get very one-dimensional. Now, it may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius-level mathematician, and you want to do that or a scientist, say, it's like you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life. Now, if you love being a scientist and you have that kind of focus of mind, well, first of all, you're a rare person, and second, you're going to pay for it. But fine, more power to you. But it's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it. You know, and I would say most often, if you're speaking about having a healthy life, that isn't what you do. You spread yourself out more. So, you know, you have a family, you have some things that you do outside of work that are meaningful to you and useful. You have a network of friends. Well, those 3 things alone, or 4 things alone, are plenty to keep you well oriented. And then if one of those things collapses, you know, everything doesn't go. Now, the price you pay for that is the more you strive to optimize that balance, the less likely you are to be fantastically successful at any single one of them. But you might have a very, you know, if you consider your life as a whole, that might be a winning strategy.
So, like, for instance, let's say you have no races. Let's say you have no classes, no nothing. There's no purpose in your life. You know, people need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K. There's no I'm going to get into school to be this or that and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's going to come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not going to be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. There may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself. And that's what you need to really research is, man, why am I not doing this for myself? Because that is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
You've made a choice to just stay here. And that's your responsibility. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying there are not challenges, problems, obstacles, issues, fears. But when you quit right here, you're right. This is where you're going to be.
Don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it.
Focus on you until the focus is on you, bro. I know that, we want the focus to be on us today, but if we put the focus on ourselves, like me, putting the focus on me, giving myself everything I need to be successful, giving myself everything I need to be competitive, giving myself everything I need to be the catch, to be the prize, that's what I'm gonna do. When you focus on doing that, fellas, and you don't pay no mind to nothing else outside of your control, you don't pay attention to them paying attention to you. When you stop doing that, I promise you, that's when the focus and the attention is gonna be paid on you, bro.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing. Nelson Mandela said, "There is no passion to be found playing small and settling for a life that's less than the one you're capable of living." Now, I'm sure in your experiences in school and applying to college and picking your major and deciding what you want to do with life, I'm sure people have told you to make sure you have something to fall back on. Make sure you got something to fall back on, honey. But I never understood that concept, having something to fall back on. If I'm going to fall, I don't want to fall back on anything except my faith. I want to fall forward. I figure at least this way I'll see what I'm going to hit. Fall forward. This is what I mean. Reggie Jackson struck out 2,600 times in his career, the most in the history of baseball. But you don't hear about the strikeouts. People remember the home runs. Fall forward. Thomas Edison conducted 1,000 failed experiments. Did you know that? I didn't know that. Because the 1,001st was the light bulb. Fall forward.
In life, we have these 5 buckets, right? The first bucket is our knowledge, which is what we know. When we apply what we know, it becomes a skill, right? And these first 2 buckets, your knowledge and your skills, are the only buckets in your life that no professional earthquake can ever unfill. They're also the buckets that overflow to fill these last 3 buckets, which is your network, your resources, and your reputation. When you have knowledge and skills, you'll undoubtedly build a network that will lead to resources, and finally reputation. Life can take away these last 3 buckets, but if you're a young person, the key takeaway here is when you're selecting that job, like I was at 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, don't select for reputation, a nice jobs title. Don't even select for resources, getting paid more. Focus on jobs that will fill these first 2 buckets, which is knowledge and skills.
You want to have more joy and satisfaction at work, you need to engage it differently, even when it sucks. How many of you have had like 3 months of doing suck work? Anybody? Just like the last 3 months, you're like, God, this sucks. Anybody? Yeah, you should celebrate that. Say, that's me! It's totally okay when you have suck work sometime. How do you engage with it? Because what most people do, they hate it. They hate the struggle. They hate the suck. But if you ever work with elite army people, they have this great saying, right? Especially the Green Berets, I love that saying. They say you have to embrace the suck. And I was like, ooh, that's good, guys. You gotta embrace the suck. Because you know what? If you avoid it or you hate it, look, anything you pour hate on grows into a monster. Anything you grow hate on. If you hate taking out the garbage, guess what taking out the garbage is to you now? A monster. It's just garbage, but you hate taking out the garbage, so now it becomes a thing to you and your spouse. The garbage became a monster between you and your spouse. Really? It's because someone applied hate on that garbage, right? You apply hate to anything, it grows into a monster. You hate the commute to work, and you gotta do it every day? How does that feel? You hate doing email, and you gotta do it every day? How does that feel? You hate bringing that topic up with your spouse? How does that feel?
When nothing seems to go right, I sometimes think of a stonecutter hammering away at his rock 100 times without a dent in it. And yet on the 101st blow, the rock will split in two, and I know it was not that blow that did it, but all that had gone before. If you're not willing to practice and practice until you get it right, you'll never make the 100 blows that makes the breakthrough on the 101st.
If you're feeling amotivated, you need to do something and put yourself into a state that's harder than the state you're in. So for instance, if you're sitting around feeling amotivated or you find yourself tending to tasks that are irrelevant to the goal that you really should be focused on, you need to put your body and mind into a state of discomfort quickly. And the way to do that is to either engage in some tangential activity, meaning an activity not related to your goal that puts your body into a very different state. So here again, I'll default to the obvious one, which is something like cold shower, or cold immersion, which not only increases dopamine long-term, or over several hours rather, but for most people is experienced as pain. That pain causes a rebound out of that dopamine trough faster than it would occur if you had just stayed in that amotivated state and waited for it to go away, or done something like cleaning up that for whatever reason felt like it required less friction. When I say friction, I mean limbic friction. Your limbic system is always in this dialogue with your forebrain. And limbic friction goes two ways. Limbic friction can be you're tired and you don't want to do something, and so you have to, quote unquote, motivate to do it, energize yourself to do it. Or limbic friction can be that you're nervous and scared and anxious to do something, and you have to calm yourself in order to lean forward into action in order to do that thing despite the anxiety.
The only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer.
The only way you cannot be humble in old age is when you refuse to look at the reality of your life up to today.
Because nobody's skated through it perfect.
We often forget how hard we are, but you gotta reflect back. Take a couple seconds, reflect. I've been through this, I've been through that. And then remind yourself, I'm a bad motherfucker. And then you can get through that. But if you don't believe it, you're just blowing smoke, man. And you're not gonna get through anything.
You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but you will remain. You are greater than your feelings.
But I never thought it was humanly possible to do what I did. I went 70 miles. And at 70 miles, I was dead. I was at 100%. What I thought was 100%. I went 31 more miles after being in the worst physical shape I've ever been in my life. And all that pain and suffering and thing was going through my body as I sat in that tub and the waters hit me. And it was the most amazing feeling of accomplishment. And I want to be numb. I didn't want people to give me drugs and to numb this pain. I did this. And as crazy as it sounds, it was the most amazing moment of my entire life.
Everything that hurts you, find a way to overcome it. Everything that you feel is difficult for you, find a way to still do it.
Everything worthwhile is uphill. You see, every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it. It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea. If they're at the top of the mountain, they know how they got there. Because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is uphill.
You have to suffer, you have to live in it, you have to be comfortable in it, and then maybe some of that it will help you a little bit along the way.
You're gonna have to fucking suffer, man, to go from this fat insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth, this journey is going to take something that is going to be incomprehensible to most people.
A moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory.
But if you live this on a daily basis and you know how to calm your mind down, the self-talk will help. All that stuff will help. But usually we react. We have pain, we have suffering, we react. And we react about, get out of here. We gotta go. It's those people who are able to control that feeling of in flight and say, there's a way through this. It's not gonna be here forever. I'm not cold right now. I went through 3 of them. I'm not cold now. I'm in a nice warm studio with you. You gotta think about that. It's just gonna end. It's gonna end, but we don't know that. We don't think that. At that time, it's gonna last forever. You take that hot, warm shower, first thing that comes to your fucking mind is, why the fuck did I quit? So what keeps me going? I've quit several things. I know what's on the back end of fucking quitting. It's a lifetime of thinking about, why the fuck did I do that? And I ain't fucking doing that no more.
You can take it. You can make it. All right, you train, you fight way harder than those other guys, and you win. You get out from under them. You could do this, Lou. You just gotta believe you can.
Suffering that you understand, the amount of pain that you've gone through makes you appreciate the happiness and the beautiful moments with much more intensity.